Today we're in beautiful Miami Beach, Florida, where we'll take a look at the history and architecture of the city. Of course, Art Deco is the style of architecture most associated with the city. Miami Beach has about 800 Art Deco buildings, one of the highest concentrations of any city in the world. So we have a beautiful day for a walking tour, nice bright blue sky. So in honor of the good weather, I have a poem to recite. When wintry winds begin to blow and northern lands are wrapped in snow, leave sleet and chilling winds behind and hie to Florida to find bright sunny days and magic nights where never any snowstorm blights, where birds sing out their roundelay and flowers blossom every day. We're standing in front of the Congress Hotel, a typical small Art Deco building in Miami Beach. There was a big exhibit in Paris in 1925 that featured Art Deco architecture and design. People from all over the world went to that exhibit and brought Art Deco home with them. The Art Deco period here was fairly brief, from about 1935 until 1950. The Congress Hotel was erected in 1936, and I'll point out some of the features that are typical of Art Deco buildings in Miami Beach. First, the front facade is symmetric, meaning if you fold it in half, it's the same on both sides. It has a taller middle section and lower side sections. Next, you'll notice the ledges over the windows. The nickname for those here are eyebrows. They served a very important function. These buildings were erected without air conditioning. The eyebrows provide shade for the interior, keeping it cooler. You see the painted relief here. It's the main form of ornamentation on Art Deco buildings in Miami Beach. You'll notice a little curlicue pattern on the relief. It's a very common symbol on Art Deco buildings. It's called a frozen fountain. If you think of water coming up from the ground and curling away, that's what the symbol depicts. You'll even find frozen fountains on manhole covers in Miami Beach. Another feature you'll notice is that the building is 3 stories in height. There's a reason for that. In the 1930s, the Miami Beach city regulations stated that if a building was 4 stories or more, it needed an elevator. Follow me to the next stop on the tour. We're standing in front of one of Miami Beach's best-known buildings. It's commonly known as the Versace Mansion. It was home of the noted Italian fashion designer Gianni Versace in the 1990s. When he purchased the building, it was in bad shape. It had physically deteriorated. Versace spent $6.9 million for the property, then another $30 million renovating it. The style of the building is Mediterranean Revival. Mediterranean Revival architecture was popular in Miami Beach from about 1920 until 1935. There's about 300 Mediterranean Revival buildings in Miami Beach today. We're in front of the Hotel Victor, another great Art Deco building with a beautiful interior, including the terrazzo floor, a beautiful mural of the Everglades National Park, and some classic Art Deco chandeliers. Miami Beach is noted for its colorful buildings, especially those with pastels. Behind me is a great example, the Marlin Hotel. We're in front of the Carlyle Hotel. This was the shooting location of a well-known late 1990s movie starring Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. They owned a nightclub in the movie. The Carlyle served as their nightclub. The South Beach neighborhood where we are now was a depressed area in the 1950s and 60s. By the mid-1970s, developers wanted to knock down the older buildings and put up new ones. The key person in preserving the older buildings here was Barbara Capitman. You can see her bust here. She founded the Miami Design Preservation League in 1976, which is the leading organization fighting to preserve the older buildings in the area. We're on the beach walk here. It runs the entire 9-mile length of Miami Beach. It's very popular for joggers, bikers, and walkers. It's a great amenity for both visitors and residents. We're standing on the rooftop of the Betsy Hotel on Ocean Drive in front of their beautiful pool area. We have a great view of the ocean from here and the surrounding Miami Beach skyline. We're standing in front of the Leslie Hotel, built in 1937. Miami Beach's history as a modern community starts about 50 years earlier in the 1880s. Several farmers from New Jersey came to Miami Beach and started a coconut plantation. In the 1910s, a man named Carl Fisher, he was a millionaire from the state of Indiana, came here. He was the first person to conceive of Miami Beach as possibly being a resort community rather than a farming community. So he started to develop the city. In Carl Fisher's mind, Miami Beach should be a resort for the very wealthy. In the 1930s, Miami Beach became a resort much more for the middle class. That's when all of these Art Deco buildings were erected. We're standing inside a major cultural organization in Miami Beach, the Wolfsonian Museum of Art. The building was erected in 1927 as a storage facility. Beginning much later, a man named Mitchell Wolfson began storing his collection of art and design objects from the period of 1850 to 1950 here. He eventually purchased the building and opened the Wolfsonian Museum in the 1990s. His collections form the core holdings of the museum. Behind me you can see a beautiful frozen fountain, a symbol of Miami Beach. You're looking at one of the oldest existing buildings in Miami Beach. It was erected in 1916. It's made out of coral rock. There are a number of these buildings in the city in the early years, in the teens and 1920s. However, there's very, very few of these remaining. These tours are offered by the Miami Design Preservation League. You can find more information about the tours at its website, mdpl.org. Thank you for coming on today's tour. I hope to see you soon on one of our tours in Miami Beach.